Hey, this is Sasha, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Stocks. And in this week's episode, we're going to take a look at the 7 reasons smart people fail at trading. So if you're not doing well with your trades, if you're struggling at trading and you still haven't traded very well throughout your career in trading, and you believe you're also smart, intelligent, you've went through college and you have a really good degree, maybe you have a great job, so you believe you're smart and intelligent in that space, but you're still struggling at trading, here are a few reasons maybe that you might want to take a look at inside yourself so that way you can see how you can improve. So I want to share with you these thoughts, ideas, and concepts to help you get a little bit better. So let's take a look at reason number 1 is that you gotta start at the bottom. When a smart person comes out and they go into trading, many of them, they don't want to start at the bottom because they feel they already have that knowledge. They believe that they already have that gap filled. So they want to start in the middle or kind of a little bit higher up. Why do I want to start at the bottom? Starting at the beginning just stinks because, well, you got to start from scratch. In the martial arts, we've had a rule or you could say a creed that we went through. Everybody works, nothing is free, and everybody starts at the bottom. So it doesn't matter if you were a black belt in another studio, you still start at the bottom at the new studio. Right? So what you're trying to do is you're looking at trading, and if you're trying to approach it with, hey, I'll be able to go ahead and trade $50,000 right away. And that may not be the case because you got to start at the bottom. Start at the bottom with your capital, the amount of capital you're trading. Start at the bottom with the amount of contracts or shares you're trading. Start at the bottom from learning technical analysis, money management, your emotions, your psychology. It all starts at the bottom. So you need to have that beginner mindset to be able to evolve and move forward. And a lot of intelligent people, they don't want to do that. You know, what they want to do is they want to start somewhere in the middle, or hey, I already know this stuff. I already learned about economics in school. Why do I have to start there? Why do I have to trade $1,000 when I have $300,000 in my bank account? You know, why do I need to do that? Why can't I just put it right in and start actively trading? Well, that's one of the reasons why they fail, is because they have that overconfidence in their trades and their abilities, and they don't want to start at the bottom. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is they stop learning. So again, if you believe you're smart, you believe you're intelligent, well, you probably also think, hey, well, I don't need to continue learning. I already have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of education. I don't want to continue to learn and educate myself. Well, if you take a look at some of the more wealthy people, like for example, Bill Gates, a lot of the things that they say they do is they read 1 hour every single day, at least, to continue to grow and evolve and you know, to see a different perspective. So that's kind of a 5 hours every single week that they're doing, just spending on at least reading and bettering themselves. Now, you could do this in other areas of life, but if you stop learning, if you stop educating yourself, well, now all of a sudden you're going to have a little bit of trouble when it comes to trading. And a lot of smart people that get into trading, they do this as well, as they don't want to continue to learn and evolve. You might learn how to trade, let's say, on the technicals, and now all of a sudden, hey, well, I don't want to continue and learn more about options. Hey, or I don't want to continue and learn more about iron condors or calendars or whatever the case may be. You find your spot and you're trying to stick in that spot, and you don't want to continue to move forward, when in fact, just going a little bit forward will help improve your trading. I'm not saying you need to read every single book out there or watch every single video course out there, but just to continue to improve and grow a little bit at a time will help you continue to evolve. And a lot of smart people, they don't want to do this, especially the ones that fail within their trades. So keep an eye out for that. Reason number 3 is the learning trap and playing it safe. So the other approach to this is sometimes smart people, they get into the learning trap where all they want to do is learn, and they don't actually put on trades because they're good at learning, they're good at educating themselves. They got smart somehow for a reason because they were learning, and this is where you get that learning trap. And when you have that learning trap, you're playing it safe because you don't want to put on trades. You want to learn everything possible. You want to learn everything that you need to know before you put on trades so you don't lose money. And this can also be a little bit of a problem because now you're spending everything on just learning without building that experience and putting on real trades. So you're trading a little bit conservatively. Before you even get into trades, you're not even putting on any trades. You're playing it safe. So that's another trap that many smart people get into. Reason number 4, you try to outsmart the experience. What do I mean by this? Well, if you're a smart, intelligent person, what normally happens is you want to do something better than what somebody showed you. You want to do something easier. You want something that's a lot more simple for you because you already have a lot of this knowledge and experience from your past. You've been successful in the past, so you try to go above it to outsmart the experience part, meaning you don't have any experience trading yet, but you get into this trading business and you're trying to be smart at it. You're trying to be intelligent, witty. You're trying to finesse your way through and make trades, successful trades and profitable trades. But unfortunately, the problem is you still need to gain experience in trading. And instead, what you try to do is use your intelligence muscle or your brain, your mindsets, in order to proceed and move forward, when in fact, what you need to do is build that experience. So what happens is with smart people, you're trying to outsmart gaining that experience. So ultimately what you need to do is actually put on trades and get that experience rather than just trying to be smart about it and move your way through it by thinking you know it all. Reason number 5, ego-driven. I find that with a lot of smart people that I run into that have a hard head, they are ego-driven, and this creates failures within their trade, within their trading. And when you look at this ego-driven mindset, is it basically what they're always thinking is that they know better. They don't admit to their faults, which is another major reason. They don't admit to their mistakes of what's the problem. They'll always want to push it, and they want to do it even better. Hey, I gotta do it better. I gotta go big. If I don't go big on these trades, well, what's the point? You know, again, let's say you have $500,000 in your bank account. Well, what's the point of trading if you can't make $50,000 every single week? You know, you might see those kinds of things where it's huff and your puff in order to really say, hey, well, I gotta make it work. I gotta make more money. And that's how they go about with their ego. And that creates failures because you're putting on large trades. You don't have that beginner mindset, putting on these big trades that you're not ready for, that you don't have the experience for. And that ego-driven mindset can really create a lot of problems and big-time losses. So be very careful with that if you're in that bracket. Reason number 6, not admitting mistakes, which goes in part to what I was just mentioning, is that if you have that ego-driven mentality, you're probably not admitting mistakes. Many people in general, it's not just smart people, but many people in general in the regular world, they don't want to admit to their mistakes. They want to push it somewhere else. Hey, well, it wasn't my fault into the car accident. It wasn't my issue. They ran into me. It wasn't my fault that, I lost a lot of money. The market just moved down. When in reality is, well, you decided to take that investment or that trade. Well, you could have put it into other things like real estate, coins, or put the money under the mattress. So, hey, it is up to you. Yes, you cannot control the market. But still, hey, if you messed up something, let's say you hit the trigger button and it went into the wrong stock or the wrong order type, well, that's kind of your mistake. Yes, maybe the icons were a little too small. Yes, maybe your mouse wasn't working. But the person who really is trading at higher levels, what they'll say is, yes, there was a technological issue, but it's my fault. It's my issue. Whereas somebody who's got this problem, reason number 6, not admitting their mistakes, well, they'll say, well, it was the mouse. It wasn't really my fault. They'll kind of brush it away. So it's a different kind of mindset, as you can see, that you're trying to put the blame somewhere else and not really take responsibilities. So be very careful here because this is a common issue for just about anything you do, whether it's business, whether it's life, in general. Not admitting mistakes can really create a lot of trouble. And I find that this is one of the main things that separates a successful trader from a failing trader, is that, hey, if you can recognize I made a mistake, well, what can you do to correct it? Or, hey, if you recognize that this is where the problem is and what are you going to do to correct it, that can really help you go a long way and take you to another level. I'd say this is huge for most traders. Let's take a look at reason number 7, and this is linear thinking. And I find that linear thinking is a problem more for people in technical areas. So think of this as the engineer thinking, okay? I don't mean to harp on engineers. I don't mean to put them in a segment or a category, but what I'm saying is that when you think in a linear fashion, You're thinking so robotically and systematically that the trades don't have any flexibility or fluidity. Think of this as a beginner baby tree. When you have a baby tree and you're starting to grow, well, that growth can go in a lot of different ways. You can even put a little stick to kind of shift the growth, or look at bonsais. You can tweak and manipulate them a little bit to train them to grow in a certain smaller zone or area. And the same thing with trees and bushes. You can kind of guide them in which way you want to grow and train them. When you have this linear thinking, what typically happens is you're going with a systematic approach. And with an old tree, which is where the linear thinking kind of happens, it's tough to start bending that tree one way or the other. So with a person who thinks in a linear fashion, which happens with some very smart people, they want to do it this way. It's very mathematical, it's very systematic, and the process has no wiggle room. They're always looking for the reason of, well, why did my stock go down? And sometimes you don't really have to have a reason. People just panicked. People were emotional, right? It's not a linear, mathematical, or systematic thing why a certain stock sold off at times. Sometimes it's just because people panicked. Sometimes it's because that's what they wanted to do, or they felt unsafe. Whatever the case may be, it's now become more emotional and not linear. So if you're constantly looking for the causes of why, if you're constantly looking for the causes of how to do something systematically, how do I put on a trade, how many shares do I need? If you're creating things in an Excel file where, well, it tells me the exact number of shares that I need to put on and my percentage of risk, that's all fine and dandy, and it's good to create a system and approach to trading. But remember, trading is two parts. Part of it is science and part of it is art. So you have that combination that you need to work through. You need to understand the science or the linear part of it, and then you also need to see the artistic form behind it, where you can get more creative with the risks that you put on or the risk levels that you go in within your portfolio. So be very careful with that, especially if you're in a technical degree like engineering, computer science, programming, those kinds of things. I find those people struggle a little bit more because they want to approach that trading as far as A plus B equals C, and then I want to repeat that process millions of times. So instead, look at learning the baseline and then adjusting it to environmental conditions. Just like when you're driving on the road, and conditions will change, you might need to make adjustments. Sometimes you need to go a little slower, sometimes you can go a little quicker, sometimes you need to avoid things on the road. So you need to be a little more flexible as you continue to drive your portfolio forward. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Those were the 7 reasons why many smart people fail at trading. And if you're smart, intelligent, more power to you and congratulations. But if you're struggling at trading, keep an eye on some of these reasons, because it could be one of the reasons why you're struggling. And I hope that this helped you maybe see a bigger perspective. Now, if you want to join me on some other future videos, then be sure to subscribe to me on YouTube, or get some exclusive news, announcements, webinars, discounts, promotions on some of the courses, books, and products I release, then get on the newsletter list right here. Thanks again for joining me. In the end, remember, there's more to life than just money. Go out, do what you love, contribute to other people, but most importantly, live life abundantly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.